As we near the halfway mark of 11.6, we're excited to bring you guys the fully updated mid-patch tier list thanks to the help of our challenger players and using the most up-to-date stats. Before we get into it, which item do you guys think is the most broken in the entire game right now? Personally, I'm getting a little tired of Everfrost after its buffs from a few patches back. To stay in the loop with all the new content we're producing, don't forget to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out. And with all that being said, let's jump right into the tier list. Kicking it off up in top lane, let's talk a little bit about Darius. The Stridebreaker and Sterix nerf in 11.6 have resulted in Darius becoming slightly weaker, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask, he will continue to hold on to an OP tier position. It's kinda crazy to think Riot has nerfed Sterix and Stridebreaker multiple times now, but these champions still remain on top of the meta. With another nerf in the coming patches, we could definitely see Darius dropping down to S, but for now, continue to abuse the hand of Noxus while you can. As a result of his buffs in 11.6, Sylas is an S tier pick for both top and mid, so don't sleep on him. He stomps all over meta champs like Malphite, Gnar, and Cho'Gath, combined with the fact Akali is seeing more play now after her buffs is amazing for Sylas too. Similar to most top laners, Sylas has had his weaker matchups against some bruisers like Darius and Urgot, so banning one of them out is a great idea. All in all, we would highly recommend adding Sylas to your champ pool and using him as a counter to those OP meta picks. As everything's settling out here after the massive Akali changes, she's fitting in nicely as a B tier top lane pick. The changes shifted power away from her early game to give more scaling strength, and it's been a successful adjustment so far. By no means is Akali a top tier pick, however, she is in a much better spot and at least a playable champion now for 11.6. The rest of the top lane tier list is pretty close to where we had it in our pre-patch update. Riven, Darius, Urgot, Malphite, and Garen will each lock down a spot as our OP picks of the patch. Despite his nerf to W, Urgot still got control over the top lane meta and remains a high priority carry pickup for solo queue. Even after the Stridebreaker nerfs, it's still a great purchase on many of these bruiser top laners as it's only dropped their power levels ever so slightly. Overall, whatever you've been playing up in the top lane over the past while really hasn't been affected drastically by the changes we saw this patch. Moving all the way from B into S tier has been Volibear. The two buffs Volley received to help out his clear have turned him into a much more viable jungler, and a top tier one at that. Surprise, surprise, Volley can also abuse the busted move speed setup of Chemtank into Deadman's and Force of Nature. This setup gives Volibear lots of strength in the mid game as his reliable engage power is very high. The bear is back, so look to pick up some freelo before everyone else catches on. Nocturne has had a huge rise in power over the past few patches due to the strength of Stridebreaker into Sterix. Noc was on our radar to move into S tier for the pre-patch update, but we wanted to wait and see how the Stridebreaker nerfs would affect him before moving him up. Even with the item nerfs, Jungle Nocturne's win rate has actually slightly improved for 11.6, so we've got that confirmation to bump him into S tier. For an update on Xin Zhao, he's been performing pretty mediocre thus far. The removal of strength from his passive and Q for a longer dash range when comboing W with E hasn't resulted in the best trade-off. We'll continue to track Xin throughout the next few patches, but for now, he'll remain in B tier. Having a look at our complete jungle tier list, Hecarim, Kha'Zix, and Elise will continue to rise above everyone else. Shaco is a pick that we're really high on at the moment and could see jump up into OP within the coming patches. The buff Shaco received to W back in 11.5 to help with his clear has given him a nice boost in power, so he should be on your radar for 11.6. We were pretty much on the dot with our Lilia prediction as she now sits down in C tier as one of the worst junglers for the majority of elos. Take advantage of these Chemtank junglers while you can, like Hecarim, Skarner, Udyr, and Volley, as we expect Chemtank to be nerfed in the coming patches. We already moved Akali up for the top lane tier list, and she'll be seeing similar movement for mid as well. We had Akali ranked as one of the worst mid laners in the game, down in D tier for previous patches, but thanks to the buffs, she'll be propelled up to B tier. As a result of these buffs, Akali is actually seeing more success in the lower elos than in high elo. That's because Akali's early game is weaker now, and good players are able to exploit it harder. In the lower ranks where you don't get punished as much early on, the increased scaling power helps Akali out more. All in all, these changes are really helping out the average Akali player. If you're an Akali main or very experienced on the champ, she's definitely a worthwhile pickup, but there are still many stronger options on the tier list. We mentioned in our pre-patch tier list, our analysts were still on the fence about moving Sylas into S tier, but we've now got all the confirmation needed to give him the bump. It was really just a matter of time before this came to be, as Sylas has been directly buffed a ton over the past few patches, and indirectly buffed thanks to Everfrost and Cosmic Drive. Other than those 2 changes, the rest of the mid-tier list will stay intact. Kassadin, Anivia, Fizz, and Galio remain our 4 OP picks of the patch. Ahri is back in a really great spot with her new build of Everfrost and Cosmic Drive, so now is one of the best times to pick her up. There were no direct changes in any ADCs in 11.6, so we just got a couple minor adjustments to update you on. Samira has been moving up again and again over the past couple patches, and will find herself back in OP tier for the mid-patch update. The changes to Immortal Shield Bow have actually turned out to be net positive for Samira. Originally, when Riot released the Shield Bow changes, they were planning to give the Lifeline passive attack speed, but instead went with AD. The fact they went with AD is much better for Samira, which is why she's liking the changes a lot. There's so many amazing ADCs to choose from for 11.6, as we have Samira, Vayne, Jinx, Tristana, and Kai'Sa as our best carry picks. Even all the champions in S tier are super good right now, and all just a hair below the OP picks. We featured Veigar in our OP off-meta champs video, so if you're looking for an unconventional bot laner, he's very undervalued. TLDR is that the Everfrost Cosmic Drive build combined with his buffs a few patches back and less punishable laning phase when played bot is making him really strong. Rakan will be moving up the support tier list for 11.6 as he's proven a big winner from the Shurelya's buff. Shurelya's is just the perfect item for Rakan, and the fact that its active cooldown was reduced by 15 seconds allows him to look for pick plays way more often. Rakan will be moving up from B into A tier. As Shurelya's was the only change that made a difference to the support role, we don't see any other movement in our mid-patch update. Lulu, Leona, and Thresh are by far your best solo carry pickups of the patch. Zilean is really underrated for mid and support in 11.6, so if you enjoy playing those sleeper OP picks, he's a great one to consider. Alright, that's going to be all for our quick rundown of the 11.6 mid-patch tier list. If you guys enjoyed these timely updates, then be sure to let us know by dropping a like and smashing the subscribe button. And if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by the top players, and we upload tons of new guides to our site each week. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, then you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. So check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Until next time, good luck out there on the Rift, and we'll see you back here soon.